A workplace health and safety investigation into the Whakaari White Island eruption, which has killed 16 and left 26 others in hospital, could take a year to complete. Speaking a short time ago, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said questions needed to be asked and questions needed to be answered. She said all businesses had a primary duty of care and the investigation would need to look at the role of the tour company and the cruise company, among others. It comes as hundreds of people observed 1 minute of silence in Whakatāne this afternoon to mark exactly 1 week since the Whakaari White Island disaster. 14 people remain in hospital around New Zealand. 10 of them are in a critical condition. 13 patients have been transported to Australia for treatment, although 1 has since died. 16 people in total were killed and 2 remain missing. And as our reporter Andrew McRae reports, locals gathered at Te Manuka Tutahi Marae near the waterfront at 2:11 p.m, with the volcanic island off in the distance to pay tribute to those injured and lost.
People from all walks of life took up the Marae's invitation to join together in honouring those killed in the eruption and those still in hospitals both here and in Australia. Kaumatua Joe Harawira says they've been guided by their tikanga.
With our community and has asked us to look after our bereaved families in the best way that we can and to umbrella the whole of the community at this tragic time for us.
There was standing room only as people also stood outside the wharenui.
And so they've got the call, they've felt within their hearts that they want to be a part of the ceremony, a part of the protocols, and it is appropriate that we have held it at our wharenui mataatua.
Mr Harawira described the atmosphere inside the wharenui as sombre, but with a sense of relief.
That some of the families have had their loved ones returned to them. And we work in 2 paradigms in Te Ao Māori. We work in a spiritual paradigm and we work in a physical paradigm. And so we've had in there waiata that are quite sad, have a sad tenor to them, but also we've been singing songs that will uplift the spirit of the people that are in there.
Judy Turner is the Mayor of Whakatāne District. She described the feeling on the marae as calm.
And so I think there's a sense now where we are kind of, even as a district, accepting what's happened and starting to, over the next week or so, look to how do we recover as a district. But our focus is largely on those affected, which includes local families, of course.
For the town and its mayor, the last 7 days has been a real roller coaster.
Do you think this has been the worst week in memory for your district?
I've been here 42 years and I'd pretty much put it at that. I mean, we've had other disasters. We had a huge flood where we evacuated a whole town only just a couple of years ago, and that was traumatic for people at the time, carrying people out at their homes and putting them on boats in the street. But yeah, the loss of life in this is horrendous, and that's what's quite different to anything else we've been through in my time here.
Judy Turner says the district is currently in a response phase and will shortly move into recovery. In Whakatāne for Checkpoint, ko Andrew McRae tēnei.
And Andrew McRae is in Whakatāne and joins me now. Andrew, what happened on the HMNZS Wellington today?
Good evening, Lisa. Well, this afternoon, just around about 12:30, a group of whānau were taken out by the Navy to be close to White Island at the time of the 1 minute silence. They weren't on the HMNZS Wellington. They went out on another smaller boat from the harbour here and were taken out to near the island, and they were joined by the Wellington and also the police launch Deodar. And apparently they got reasonably close to Whakaari, around about within 1 nautical mile. And when they were out there, and it was apparently quite a swell and quite rough, they were able to have that minute silence and also to throw a wreath into the water, so they were close to their loved ones.
Today, the Prime Minister announced a fund to help businesses. Now, what's the reaction been down there?
Well, I think most of them are just hearing that news now, but I would think that they would be quite pleased because a lot of these businesses Some are directly involved with tourism, some directly with White Island itself, but others, the wider tourism in the Eastern Bay of Plenty. But there's all those other businesses such as restaurants and grocery stores and petrol stations, that sort of thing, who then get the flow and effect from tourists coming to this area. So I think any assistance that the government can give them will be gratefully accepted.
And what are we expecting to happen tomorrow?
Well, police are saying that, weather permitting, they will return to the area of White Island tomorrow, particularly with divers, because they're pretty sure that the two missing bodies are in the ocean now. So divers, Navy and police divers will return, and there's a possibility, they haven't said this yet, but there's a possibility they may also go back on the land for just one more search between the ravine and or down the ravine between the Crater Lake and the wharf. And we do know that the seismic conditions on White Island are much lower than they were, say, this time last week, obviously. So it's probably a good time to go. That is particularly as long as the weather is good for tomorrow. It was a bit rough and visibility was pretty poor out there today. And police are working on that plan to go out tomorrow, but a final decision will be made early in the morning.
Thanks, Andrew. That's Andrew McRae, our reporter on the ground there in Whakatāne.